Hello and welcome to this week's Cats Whiskers TV. We're back at the bunkers as usual. On this week's show we'll be looking back at all of last week's results, including Cardiff's fantastic 6-point weekend in Scotland and also both the Panthers games. We'll be looking ahead to all the games coming up in the Elite League this week, and no hot topic again, we've thrown it over to you. Plenty of subjects to discuss later on. But first, as ever, it's Paul Baum with the CWTV News.
I'm Paul Baum, and this is the CWTV News. Kevin Harvey bids farewell to the Blaze. 5 fans react after hearing Brad Cowan as the referee. Panthers Steelers rivalry to get the Hollywood treatment. And that was the news.
With the news there, and here he is. So we're going to look back at some of the games over the weekend. I think it might be best to start with Cardiff's 3 games in Scotland, yielding 6 points. Fabulous 5-1 win on Friday night against Dundee. Overtime victory against Fife.
Fabulous 5-1 on a Friday.
Yeah, you can have that one. You can have that one. 4-3 overtime win over Fife on Saturday night, and then a 2-1 win against Edinburgh to finish off. Now, I don't think anybody would have expected Cardiff to come out of that game, those set of games with maximum points, especially after everything that happened last week. And I know we'll go on to that a little later on when we're looking at the hot topics. But that was just some performance by the players there.
And I think you've chosen your words very wisely there. Performance by the players. Yeah, but, you know, to go there, to go up to Scotland to get those 3 victories, which, you know, we haven't managed, and, you know, they've done with everything that's going on round, is a really, really good result.
And I think it says a lot for the character of the players within that side, because it can't be a bed of roses there at the minute playing there. I don't think anybody knows what's happening. Players being moved from pillar to post, players being cut. I mean, obviously we had Joseph Myers unbelievably cut last week under very strange circumstances. These players seem to be just playing for that professional pride.
Yeah, and I think for the fans as well. There's 150, 200 Cardiff fans went up there. So and the team owe it to them to go out there and put and perform. Yeah, but it can't be easy. You're right. It can't be easy for the players. You don't know what's going on. They'll try and block it out to, try and be professional, but just get on with the only thing they can affect, which is the game. But the back of your head is, back of your mind, it's got to be having an effect.
I mean, I think that's the thing that, in a way, pleases me, is the fact that, in spite of everything that's going on, and in spite of the noises that are coming out about the management and the coaching situation, the players are still giving it their all. And like you said, 200 fans there, they're not going to want them to let them down. And I believe they wanted to actually thank the players after Friday. They wanted to thank the fans after Friday night's game.
We'll probably get onto that later.
But weren't allowed to, which was shocking. But I think a lot of credit to those Cardiff Devils players for playing the way they have.
Yeah. I mean, you got to remember they're playing for a job as well next season, because you'd have to question any of them actually wanting to go back. So and if it gets right, they gave up trying. People aren't going to be as interested in him, but yeah, all credit to him.
Looking at some of the other results on Saturday, I think one of the surprising ones for me was Coventry winning in Hull 6-1. I was shocked when I heard about that one, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because Hull have been fantastic. I think they were going for 7 games on the bounce. Or certainly 7 games at home. And it sounds like Blaze went in there and quite frankly took them apart.
It happens, it'll happen that a team's going really well and suddenly they'll just crash. I mean, look at last season. We lost 9-4 day after Boxing Day in Sheffield. We just got back on the horse straight after and started winning again. These things happen, and Hull have done exactly the right thing, which is ignore all the boo boys for a start, because if they were booing Ben Barnes, I'm doing it now. Fabulous 5-1 on a Friday, because they weren't playing 5. And now we've got booing Ben Barnes, which is abysmal. Doesn't quite work as badly, does it? So, and they went about the right way. They got back on with the job, and, well, they could very nearly have beaten us last night.
Very much so. Belfast, well, they continued their winning ways. Tough game in Braehead by all accounts. It took them till overtime, but still they picked up them 2 points.
It was a Belfast Braehead belter, wasn't it?
Stop it. Please stop it now.
So sorry. I can't think of any more anyway, you're all right. Yeah, but, just grinding the results out. Just give them the trophy now. Let's get this season finished.
It feels a bit like that. The live game on Premier Sports was Edinburgh and Dundee. I caught a bit of that on Sunday. Looked a very good, close game. Dundee getting back on the bus with or getting back on the horse.
Doesn't matter, just getting on with it again. Yeah.
4-3, good win. So it still keeps them up there. They're still grinding those wins out. I have to say, when watching a bit of the coverage, how impressed I was by Martin Singer as a co-commentator. I don't know if you saw any of the coverage at all.
I didn't know, so don't ask me about that.
Okay, fair enough.
But a lot was said about a certain owner's son. I think he watches the show. If he doesn't, hello anyway. About why are they picking that game? Well, it looks like Premier Sports have proved him wrong, and they've got to show everybody. It's how often do we moan about Sky, and especially ITV, only show the same teams? I mean, what is it? Manchester United's last 20-something FA Cup games have been on television. There's another 20-odd teams in the Premiership, But so.
Well, there was that big bang a few weeks ago. Just a big bang that was heard throughout the country, which was apparently ITV executives smacking their heads on the table when Man U got knocked out of the FA Cup. But
you've got to share it about, because if you're somebody who lives in Dundee, lives in Edinburgh, has got Premier Sports, because at the moment it's free on Virgin, let's say, never know anything about ice hockey, and all they see is, there's a team in Belfast, there's a team in Nottingham, there's a team in Sheffield. I like what I'm seeing, but it's no use to me. It's an advert for everywhere, not just the individual clubs. So I think it's good that they showed that game. It looks like it was a cracker.
Well, I mean, I know there was questions of why wasn't the Sheffield-Nottingham game shown, which I went to on Saturday night. I tell you, it's a good job it was shown, because it was rubbish. It was dull.
Yeah, they want to show it about 3 in the morning, get all the insomniacs to sleep. So basically what you're saying is, the rivalry, is the rivalry still there?
No, rivalry, and it's sad, and I don't take any pleasure in saying this whatsoever, but the rivalry is pretty much dead. Take Saturday night, there was very little niggle. There was one little bit where Brent Henley offered Tim Spence. Tim Spence filled his shorts and couldn't get to the bench quick enough. But that was it. That was it for the entire game. Now, Sheffield skated out, easy victors. They deserve the win. Panthers, very disjointed. I think the changes were certainly showing on Saturday night. There wasn't a great deal of passing, and Sheffield just getting that easy wins, but it was just boring.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like the coverage I saw about it. It looked like it was another game where we had a mad 5 minutes in the middle of the second. and they took advantage and that. But
oh no, they were the better team for most of the game. To be fair, yeah, the Panthers had their moments. They started off very well. Lee Salters scored on the power play. Another power play straight after. Matt Ryan went through one-on-one. Doyle makes good saves, and I think if that goes in, it's 2-0, and then the momentum, it could have been a very different result. But you know, Sheffield equalised, getting on towards the end of the first period, and then it sort of was all too predictable after that, sadly. However, you know, there's just, yes, you'll still get big crowds at these games because of what they are. They're local. However, I'm sure the Steelers are incredibly annoyed with the Motorpoint Arena after the mess they made with the online ticketing. Not many Panthers fans there because of that, and I'm sure the Steelers have missed out on an awful lot of revenue because of that.
It's a good job they had the webcast, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you know, I know.
I got 27 round our house. I was watching it for £8. Thanks, Dave. I'm lying.
Yeah, there were 25 there.
I ain't that popular.
Of course, but the rivalry, there's just nothing. It's not. There's nothing to really spark it. Familiarity breeds contempt, and I think that's the problem. And of course, over the next, I think we've got to play them another 5 times still yet before the end of the season. Once a fortnight. At
least, yes. It's once every 14 days or something, and you know, we've already played them 7 times, I think it is. Yeah. And it's like, it is familiarity breeds contempt. You get to see the same people over and over again. I don't understand. You know, because there's been talk I think it was Tony Smith said it on the webcast, about 2 new teams coming into the league. But you can guarantee that they'll still want to play us as many times, and probably we'll want to play them as many times.
Well, I mean, from a business sense, it makes sense from a business sense because the arena's full every time it happens. However, it's just the thing with me is, and I've felt this for a long time. I mean, look at the Kelsey Wilson incident last season. It's things like that usually spark it off.
Fewer games than fighting in the handshakes, that, you know, taking a 2-hander to someone. But, you know, things like that would have ignited the rivalry years ago. Yeah. It just didn't. You know. And is it because there are fewer personalities? Characters, although wearing a hat does not make you a character. Is it because the characters there are there? I mean, heaven knows David Ling was a character, but he wasn't here long enough. You know, you can't build that rivalry up. Well, or is it just because they're more professional these days?
I don't know. I mean, I think back to the likes of when Sheffield had Cranston and Plummer, who I hated with a passion, both of them, and quite frankly, want to see them get filled in every time we play them. But it was that sort of thing that ignited it. You look forward to every game, and but every game was a battle.
Yeah, but they were there for a long time as well. Compared to, you know, like something like, Tim Spencer, let's pick a name out of the air, and it's just, he's not doing anything to upset you. And he's not been here long enough for you to build up. I mean, you didn't used to like Ryan Finnerty, did you? You hated him.
True. It was a long time ago, Ryan. Then I met him, you know.
And it was love. Sorry.
I won't go that far. Anyway, to get a different perspective on the game, the Sheffield perspective as ever, here's Scott Antcliffe with his report.
Hi there, back from the Steelers game, resulting in a 5-2 win for the Steelers against the Panthers at the Motorpoint Arena. Yeah, pretty good game. Steelers kind of came out the gates a bit slow in the first period. Panthers capitalised, they were throwing their body about, the intensity was there from them, and Nottingham looked the better team for the first sort of 10, 12 minutes of that first period. They got a goal early doors with Lee Salters doing what he does on the power play, been a menace in front of the net, and he was on hand to tap home a back post sort of rebound from a point shot. It took an awkward bounce off the boards, come straight out to Salters, who were there just to put that one in the 3rd minute. Good goal on a power play. Steelers fought back. Jonathan Phillips bit of a scramble in front in the 15th minute, and Phillips was on the hand to sort of battle to the puck and put that one past Kowalski on his debut, on his return to the ice. So 1-1 going into the first period break. Panthers, they probably deserved to go in maybe a goal ahead or so, but Steelers fought back, and it was a pretty good first period. Then the second period looked like two different teams. Panthers came out flat. Steelers just took advantage, so Steelers grabbed three quick goals in the first 10 minutes in that second period. And that kind of subdued the Panthers, subdued the crowd. So Steven Gertson got a quick goal after a good passing play with Nate DiCasmiro. Good link up between those two, and Gertson fired it low past Kowalski. Then Gertson got another goal on the power play in the 24th minute after a point shot from Fata. Gertson got a tip on it. Good shot from Fata though, to be fair, through a screen. Gertson were there on hand just to tap it in. Then Rob Dowd, great goal from Dowd, cracking player, showed some good composure. Once again, DiCasmiro, Sirianni, the two Italians linking up well and providing a nice pass to Dowd, and Dowd just finished nice. Great wrist shot, low past Kowalski in the 30th minute. And Lee Salters, once again on the power play, creating havoc out there. Good goal from Salters after good work from Clark. Clark on the power play is a cracking player, so you can't take it away from him. And they grabbed a goal to make it 4-2 going into the second period break. Then the third period, Steelers just kind of absorbed the pressure, killed the game off. Jeff Legui grabbed a goal late in the third, in the 58th minute, after some good work from Gertson. So overall, not a bad game. Good result, obviously, for the Steelers. That helped us leapfrog or just edge ahead the Panthers in the table. But these games have lacked that intensity and passion, this year or for the past couple of years. And I think now the Coventry Nottingham rivalry is much bigger than the Steelers Panthers rivalry, unfortunately. So overall, good win for the Steelers, and hopefully they can sort of use this little streak they're going on to put a bit of a run together. And I doubt we'll be able to challenge the Giants, but it'd be good to finish the season on a high, I guess.
We're going to look at the two games we haven't covered from Sunday. We'll start at the NIC. Panthers taking on Hull. And, wow, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good game between what, at the moment, are two very well-matched sides.
I don't think it was a classic. I thought maybe all deserved something out of it.
Yes,
really.
I'd agree with that totally.
To go 2 goals up twice and then come away is testament to the Panthers. But it also shows, Hull, especially that first period, they gave us a lesson in finishing.
But we've seen all season that they have the firepower in their lineup to damage teams.
Yeah, and they will, and it was clinical. And I said with about 10 minutes left that we needed another 10 minutes like we had in that game up in Hull just before Christmas that we don't like to talk about. Because we sort of got it, but not as much. Because that last 10 minutes in Hull, they couldn't handle us. We suddenly found what we'd been missing so badly the rest of the season. But again, I thought for a lot of the game, it was a very disjointed performance. I know we've had a lot of changes. We lost, very unfortunate. We've lost Murray to the Steelers, the Bittingham Steelers.
Yeah. That is
a terrible joke.
That's a massive loss for us, because he thankfully has been the fittest defenseman. And he's been logging some serious ice time, and he's not let us down. He's given everything he's got, and I can't begrudge him leaving for probably a bigger payday in Europe. I can't. It's a short career. Can't knock him.
It's disappointing, but we just wish him well. he did great for us. I think more or less ever since that first round of the Continental Cup, he's just been logging so many minutes, and good luck to him.
Yeah, and I hope he gets a bit of a rest. Not so many minutes on the ice, although the way he's been playing, I'm sure he won't mind at all. Just going back to the game, so of course Hull taking 2-goal leads, Panthers pegging it back, and I think that's one thing I can definitely say about the Panthers team this year. There's no shortage of effort from any of them, and every game I've seen, they've been putting the minutes in, they've been putting the work in, and yeah, okay, it's not come off a lot of the time, but can't fault the effort that they're putting in this season.
You can't. I mean, and I think it's exemplified as much by people like Francis, who just go out there and they just chase everything down all night. Lakovic was doing the same. Box Hill, you know, the people we talk about week in, week out. Because that's what, as a fan, you want to see. Yeah, it's great to have the flair players. It's great, you know, the snipers, but it's those, the ones that are just playing 60 minutes, not 60, but giving 100% because you can't give any more. All the way through while they're on the ice. They're the ones that the fans really love. Because they're giving it all for them, and that's great. But, I mean, as I said, you know, I thought Hull did really well. I mean, I thought Ben Bounds was brilliant.
He had a cracking game actually, and considering it seems he'd taken some stick from Hull fans the previous night.
What, they were booing Ben Bounds?
Booing Ben Bounds, and he kept the score down, made some excellent saves. Of course, on the other side of the coin, you had Kowalski back this weekend. Yep. We missed him, but he looked short of match fitness, which he's going to do. But he still pulled out a couple of outstanding saves.
Well, I think that there was a pivotal moment when he broke up that 3-on-0 on his own, where the defence just watched the puck go sailing past. And but you know, Wood Conway got that. You know, not up to that point, you've got what I've come to call Conway clapping, not because of tonight's alliteration thing, but you know, it's this. You know, there was no confidence in him. I didn't think the team had got much confidence in him. So he made a fairly routine save, and it's the sort of applause a backup gets.
Yeah.
Because he saved it, thank God. You know, whereas you know the bread and butter stuff Kowalski can do. I mean, there were some slightly dodgy calls. I mean, there was one where he's got to get used to wandering around behind the net. but where their player, you saw their player take his feet out. Ix did nothing. I didn't think he had a great game. But I mean, what did you think of Vereskovic?
Rusty. He looks again another one lacking in match fitness. But I think once he's got a few games under his belt, he'll probably be the real deal. He showed touches, he showed great defensive awareness at times. Probably a bit slow, but I think the fitness, the speed will come with the fitness.
I mean, there's jet lag in there, and you know, so the lack of match fitness is going to affect him, and that can only get better as long as he doesn't get himself banned or injured.
Well, you never know. Just a final word on this game. I thought a lot of credit to Robert Lakovic, because for the 6th goal, where he had every right to take the shot himself, very unselfishly set up Peter Callis for the more or less certain goal, and I thought that was a great play by him.
Team player. Team player, it's a team sport, not an individual, but he did get a bit of his favourite backdoor action for a goal earlier in the game anyway, so I suppose he'd go away happy.
I think we'll move on to Sheffield commentary after that comment. So, I mean, that looked like it was a very interesting game at the Sky Dome. Sheffield 6-0, I think they were. Or 6-0, or certainly 6-1. No, 6-0. They were 6-0.
We were sat in here and you were getting all upset about it.
Yeah. So 6-0 up. Finished 6-4, so the comeback nearly happened. From reading about the game, it seems that Coventry had an absolute stinker of a first period.
No.
and that's what cost them the game, because apparently they were excellent after that. But I don't know who's going to come out of that game happier.
Well, Doug Christensen probably. because
I mean,
they won.
Still 2 points.
Yeah. So, and you go 6-0 up. You're not going to be going that hard the rest of the game.
That's
are you?
that's true.
But, I mean, Coventry learnt a lesson, the same lesson we nearly learnt. If you give a team a big lead, it's difficult to get back. And I think, they'd lost Olsen before that with a hand injury, recurrence of his hand injury, I think it is. And of course now Harvey's gone as well. That's irritating as he was. He's going to be a big, they're going to find it hard to replace him.
And we saw his leaving party earlier, of course. Also news out that Ben Olsen is out for the rest of the season. That is a big loss for them. Huge loss.
Like I just said, you mean? Yeah.
Did you?
I did.
No. Yeah. No, well,
but it is a big loss. But the Coventry Blazers' loss is the bow tie makers' gain.
Sorry, were you talking? Anyway, I think the thing with Coventry is they've started to show signs of recovery. They had a 4-point weekend last weekend. They went into Hull and won, and then sort of the momentum comes crashing down with the loss to the Steelers.
Yep.
It's like now they've obviously now got injury problems and players leaving.
It's nothing to do with any of that.
But can they get the momentum back?
It'll be difficult, but if they get a few, they get a lucky bounce too, then nothing's impossible. But it's nothing to do with any of those things. It's because Sheffield are world beaters again.
Of course, and on that,
you heard it here first.
And on that bombshell, we'll move on. We once again asked you to provide us with hot topics for me and Paul to discuss for this week. Only one place we can start, really. Stuart Cole, Stu the Badger on Twitter, he sent one in. The tram smash that is the Cardiff Devils. How do they keep winning despite the off-ice idiocy? Well, I think we've already covered the winning part in the first part of the show.
So on to the off-ice idiocy. Where's me out?
I think the only way to describe it is a car crash at the minute, or a tram smash at Stuart's. But it's nobody is coming out of this with any credit whatsoever at the minute. It's certainly from within the management and coaching staff.
Only the players.
Yeah.
I mean, it's odd in a way that it's taken, well, not taken, but the tipping point has been a backup netminder, a British backup netminder in Joe Myers.
But the way he was let go was frankly unforgivable.
Oh, it wasn't. It just doesn't make any sense. All right. There's this idiom that there should be no sentiment in sport. But what does getting rid of Myers actually achieve? Because I can't see him. Is it about money? I can't see it being, because I can't see him be a big earner.
No, not at all.
Is it about the quality of his play? Well, he's won a game for him, at least one, playing against us. It just doesn't make sense. And bringing players in bringing young players in to replace him, give them some experience. What is it? One's the same age and one's older.
Yeah.
So, I doubt we're ever going to know, and maybe that's not a bad thing.
Probably for the best.
Yeah. But I just don't understand it at all. Maybe it's because they got rid of Phil Hill, who'd been there years. Joe had been there 6 or 7, something like that. Is he getting rid of anybody who's been there any length of time? The mascot better be looking over his shoulder.
Of course, as you mentioned, that was the tipping point. There's now a movement being created called #outside, where fans are going to protest before the game against the Panthers on Thursday night. And I spoke earlier on the phone to one of the organisers, Paul Sullivan, who made it very, very clear that they're totally in support of the players. This is a protest against the management and coaching staff of the Cardiff Devils, but they don't want to prevent anyone going in. They don't want anyone to boycott, because at the same time they don't want to damage the revenue streams for the Cardiff Devils. So sounds a very, very peaceful protest. I think they're expecting around between 100 and 200 people to protest with them, and then probably just go on and watch the game. But it does make a statement that people aren't happy with what is happening there.
Yeah, and that's a fair chunk of their fan base that's going to protest there, and good luck to them. Paul Reagan being how Paul Reagan is, I wonder how bothered he'll be. But by the same token, somebody's got to stand up and say, this ain't good enough. You know, this is, at the end of the day, he might sit there, he's got all the purse strings, he'll tell you it's his club. It's not. It's not. Panthers aren't Neil Black's club. Steelers aren't Tony Smith's club. They're not even Dave Sims, which I seem to try and marry them together for a minute there. Tony Sims, but it's the fans' club. We've both been here longer than Neil Black's been here. There's any number of people who've been at Sheffield longer than Tony Smith, mainly because of their revolving owner policy. And we'll be there long after Neil Black's gone, probably. Long after Tony Smith's gone, long after Paul Reagan's gone. The clubs belong to the fans. We're the ones putting the money in the coffers week in, week out. So if we don't like something, we've got the right to peacefully protest.
And that's the point, isn't it? It's got to be done in the right way. It's no good being bullet a gate going, oh, this is rubbish, with no basis. And it sounds that the guys at Cardiff have thought long and hard about the protest and are doing it in absolutely the right way.
If you go off half-cocked and get all you're going to do is wind people up. If you're considered, if you lay your arguments out, that it's a lot harder for people to argue against it. And good luck to them. And maybe some of I don't know how many Panthers fans will be going down there, but maybe some of them could stand shoulder to shoulder with them.
Absolutely agree. Of course, today, as we film this, Monday, playoff tickets went on sale. Got ours earlier, Block 5. But
well, you did get there at 8 o'clock last night, Jono.
Yeah, camped out. No, I didn't do that, but you know.
He's always camping on a Sunday.
Only at weekends. But anyway, we got.
That's when Sundays are.
Yeah. We've got a tweet here from Alistair Neal who says the playoff ticket allocation, 4 teams in one block is a joke. Sell a block each and tickets can be sold on general sale. Now this obviously relates to Hull, Dundee, Edinburgh and Fife, who have been allocated a single block between them.
Yes.
That's a bit off as far as I'm concerned.
It is. But by the same token, the NIC is going to look at how many they sold, and the Elite League going to look how many were sold for those teams, and they must look at it and thought it was appropriate. Yeah. Me, I don't think I'd have given each of them a block, because I mean, some of those blocks hold about 1,000 people. How many are Edinburgh going to bring? You're going to give them, they're only going to fill a few rows, and it then makes it harder to sell. But 4 in one block's ridiculous. I'd have gone for two blocks.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way Hull are playing, they've got a good chance of making the weekend. I think they've got I think they'll bring a few fans down. Fife, fan base growing all the time. I think they'll bring a few fans down. Dundee, done great this season. Every chance qualifying for the weekend. They'll probably
And
bring
you've left Edinburgh to last.
Edinburgh, yeah, but to be fair, they haven't got the biggest fan base. They don't bring, but they still bring a few. You're right. Maybe a block dedicated to Edinburgh is a bit of overkill, but half a block certainly. You know, 4 in one block. It just is a bit ridiculous for me. Moving on to the whole allocation, of course, there's been a lot of noise that Panthers have got the biggest allocation again, but surely
There's going to be more fans.
It's in Nottingham, and I know that there's arguments about it's become a glorified Panthers home game. It's an advantage, which familiarity to the rink and the ice and the boards, yes, there's a slight advantage, but I don't think it's anywhere near what people are making out. Many years we've not qualified. We have qualified. We've lost in the semi-finals, the final. We've won them the last, and it does seem to have got a bit louder since we started winning them.
Hasn't it just? Yeah. And what was it? Sheffield have actually got a better record in the playoffs there than we have.
Yeah, absolutely.
And talking to Sheffield, in the old days, didn't the Benson and Edges Cup, didn't that used to get played year on year?
At Sheffield.
At Sheffield, yeah, the final of that. And they didn't win 3 in a row. So,
they won 2. They won two B&H Cups at Sheffield. So.
What, in a row?
No, not in a row.
They are then. We won 3.
That's true. So we had a better record there.
Yeah.
How things change.
We should have been allowed to keep it, because that would have made a solid gold.
Yeah.
But does it give us an advantage? Yes. But as Belfast so nearly proved last year, they nearly beat us. They had the momentum going into that overtime. I think that people, yes, they're going to say that, oh, it's only Nottingham, but they've also got to give us a bit of credit for what we did, but they probably won't.
Another point from our old mate Random Pish. Instead of a third.
That's why you say it.
Random Pesh. So there we go. And instead of a third and fourth place match, have a one-period tournament. Brits only from the 4 losing quarter-final playoff teams. No, well, that's not a bad idea. As something different.
Not sure about Brits only.
It'd be good.
It'd be tiring for. Mind you, what they're going to do? They're going to do day after. Nothing. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people knocking. Oh, they're having a third, fourth game again, and it is a joke. But
look at the crowd that was in last year.
Yeah, look at the crowd that was in last year compared to the
England-Scotland games.
England-Scotland games or the award ceremony.
Yeah.
Well, I think. I mean, we only saw about the last period.
Yeah.
And pretty dreadful it was, frankly. But it was easy to follow. Yeah, it was easy.
But I mean, it was more than half full in the arena.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And before that, can you remember the last time you were in there before the final? And our pre-match warm-up on a Sunday's normally been the King's Head. Good boozer.
Good boozer. Yeah, give it a try if you come in now. So,
I'll have a pint of whatever's on. Yeah. Malibu. Anyway, move on.
Andrew Birrell, Colorado Flyer, goes on about the reffing in this league. How can we make it better? As it wouldn't surprise him, as that's why players don't want to come back here. Well, and I think I know where this comes from. They have Rab Cowan on Saturday. They've had him numerous occasions, but then on Saturday night, I believe he was pretty awful by all accounts. However, I find it very difficult to have a go at referees. I mean, all the old cliches come out about it's a very, very tough job, and I wouldn't want to do it. And too right, I wouldn't want to do it. But I think we saw in the Continental Cup how bad refereeing can be elsewhere.
Yeah, we did, but I've been trying to blank him out. I think he's right about the point about players not wanting to come back. What can we do to improve them? It all comes down to one thing: money. Yeah, and who's going to pay that? The owners.
Yeah.
And are the owners going to pay that?
Yeah, and I suppose that's the thing. Are they going to put their hands in the pockets for improvements? However, sometimes you have to look at the longer term. It's very short. As we know, British ice hockey has a very short-term outlook. That needs to change.
Yeah, I mean, it does. But while ever we've got a league run by the owners, income, money, etc., is going to be the overriding factor. That's why we're playing Sheffield 12 times at least this season. That's why we usually play Edinburgh midweek, because it's cheaper to hire the arena, and It's the long. We've got to have this long sighted vision because that we haven't. I mean, it's the problem we had with the 4 referee system. There's not a big enough pool of referees to come through. I mean, we've seen the last few weeks Kieran O'Halloran stepped up. He wasn't bad.
He did a decent job, to be fair.
Yeah, I felt he tended to feel a bit sorry for the team that were losing at times, but I'm biased. I'm going to be. I'm a fan. That's what it's about. But yeah, they've got. That's what they've got to put the money in. Quite how? Why do you get referees from overseas to do training sessions? Do you send referees overseas to see how others do it? Do you invest money in training sessions in this country? Bring people? I don't know, but something's got to be done. Or because the referee, I don't see the referees of the future coming through.
I mean, this is a debate. There's always going to be complaints about officials. Yeah, and the thing is, they even complain about the officials in the EIHL, and that's the best league in the world.
You're always going to have people complaining about referees. It's human nature. It's because you see it, but.
As I've always said, I've called referees blind on occasions when they've called what looks like a pretty soft call against the Panthers. However, there's not many neutral games I've seen where I've not agreed with what the referee has called.
You're also the only person I've ever seen go running down the street to bunny a referee as well.
Yeah, well,
you're going to say moving on now, aren't you?
On that note, I'll say thank you very much for the tweets that you sent us again this week, and I think we will probably keep this topic going where we'll ask you to provide topics for us to discuss because
we've run out of ideas.
And it seems to be working. So if it's not working for you, please let us know.
I've got an idea for next week.
What's that?
I'm not telling you now. We'll tweet it.
Look who's joined us. Back from Hull on a short break. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm alright, thanks, yeah.
You've obviously been watching quite a lot of the Stingrays this season, being in Hull and getting down to the games. What's different about them this season from previous seasons? What sort of is making them better and more of a force within the Elite League?
Well, I think they've got more players who can score rather than just relying on Tendler. I think they're stronger defensively this season as well, with Bounds has been really good and the defence has tightened up. I think they've tightened up since Suderman has left as well. I've seen them really improve since then. So they're looking a lot better defensively and a lot stronger going forward as well.
There've been quite a few good games at Hull Arena this season, and from your reports and from your tweets, you seem to be quite enjoying them down there.
Yeah, they've been good games, quite close. Yeah.
Conference system obviously working then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're
good old one-word answers.
Good old one-word answers. He's not changed. He's changed a bit, but he's not changed much. Okay, we're going to have a look at some of the games coming up. We're just going to quickly predict all the games between us. So we'll start off Thursday night. Cardiff taking on Panthers at Cardiff Arena. Paul.
Cardiff.
Sam.
Nottingham. And
I'm going to go Panthers as well. Break the duck at the big blue tent, he said, crossing his fingers. Of course, Grimaldi will be back for that one. His suspension has now finished. Saturday, I'll start with you. This one, Hull against Fife at Hull.
Hull.
And I will say Hull as well. Oh, it's a big weekend in Belfast. A double header, so we'll go both games. Belfast, Sheffield, Saturday night first.
Belfast.
Sunday night.
Shall we say Sheffield, just to be awkward?
Belfast
as well. I think they will sweep it. They will take a big step towards the Elite League title, I think, this weekend.
They need to. They could wander there.
Braehead against Dundee at Braehead Arena.
Braehead.
I'm going to go Dundee, that one. Braehead. Okay. Coventry, Edinburgh. Skydome.
If you fancy it, Coventry.
Yeah, I'll go Blaze as well.
Edinburgh.
Controversial. Final game on Saturday, Panthers against Cardiff at the NIC.
Not again. Nottingham.
Panthers for me.
Panthers.
Okay. So, Sunday, Blaze against Panthers. Ooh, will anything?
How many teams are there in this league?
will it all kick off again in the handshakes?
No.
No. So who's going to win?
What the hell, Nottingham.
I think Panthers overtime win.
I think we'll win in regulation.
Win in regulation. Okay. Cardiff against Hull at Cardiff.
Hull.
Hull.
I'm going to go Cardiff in that one, I think. Edinburgh Fife, big rivalry at Murrayfield.
You see, there's a big rivalry that's got no spark now, has it?
Well, I don't know. From what I can tell from the games there's plenty of spark in them.
Yeah, but look at that game, the couple where one of their players was whirling the shirt around there. Anyway, 1-1 draw, going to penalties. Edinburgh.
I'm going to go Fife for this one.
Five.
Fife as well. And then finally, Dundee against Braehead. Dundee could be a good game.
Dundee.
I'll go Dundee.
Dundee.
So that is all for this week. Aaron will be back with us next week after his little jaunt in the Arctic Circle. That's if he hasn't been eaten by a polar bear or something. Thank you for coming and joining us. We will hopefully have the special guest that we were hoping to have this week. We'll hopefully have next week now. So stay tuned for that. But until next week's show, very goodbye.